Now, as we reported earlier, court action between the Gautrain Station in Sandton and the City of Johannesburg has been postponed to Friday. The court said that this is to allow landlords Cedar Park to submit answering affidavit to an application made by the city. Well, our reporter Hitekani Mgwedze was in court and joins us live now in studio. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for being here.
Good afternoon, Lindi.
Well, I think before we get into what took place today, take us back. Give us a brief history of where this case actually stems from.
Absolutely. So, according to the City of Joburg, since the Cedar Park took control of the property where Gautrain Station is in Sandton in 2013, they hadn't been making any payments towards the municipal rates and services. The city says that they've attempted numerous times to make sure that they get those rates and services fees being paid. One of the examples is last year they say they issued a pre-termination warning, which is a pre-cut warning to the services that they provide to that place and across Joburg as well. In response, Cedar Park apparently paid up about 670,000 Rand towards their 3.3 million Rand debt. At that point, it was 3.3. Right now, they're sitting at 8 million Rand of debt. The city says they also issued a warning, a pre-termination warning in July this year as well, and there was no reply to it. So this led, according to the city, to the cut of the services, including water, that has led to the Gautrain Station commuters, which are around 20,000 a day, 20,000 odd, going without water. And this means ablutions facilities are cut off, and that's why Gautrain Station provided temporary facilities. And these, of course, pose health risks. But the city stands on its point that it can't be providing free services to a company this big. It doesn't really set a correct precedence and not being able to recoup the money that's supposed to be gotten from them.
And I mean, the issue of rates, Hitekani, we've seen in numerous municipalities across Gauteng even, them being threatened to get their utilities cut off if they don't pay. So this is not new. But the fact that this affects the Gautrain, which is our world-class transportation, I'm sure that's why it's now being given a lot of attention.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, it did services about 20,000 people a day, people walking through that. And Sandton is really in the height of public perception as Joburg being a hub of economy and a hub of activity. So this has definitely brought the issue of paying municipal rates in the open and up for discussion.
Yeah, and I mean, just by what you're saying and the actions that the city took before cutting the water off, what is Cedar's response to that? Because, I mean, if they were warned about it, they should have known what was to come.
Well, that's what was supposed to be discussed today. I mean, in some of the answering affidavits, they talk about inaccuracies in the formulating of the fees that they're supposed to pay. They also talk about how they themselves, as Cedar Park, have been paying electricity for the library that is under the City of Joburg, and they are actually formulating or issuing a counter case or a counter attempt to get money from the City of Joburg. They say the city owes them about 5 million Rand odd. And it seems like there's quite a lot of detail within the story. Well, either that or Cedar Park is making it a lot more detailed in an attempt to either, frustrate the city legally, or trying to make the point across.
Yeah, and let's quickly speak about the connection with the links to the Gupta family that we've seen between Cedar Park regiments as well. Speak to us about that.
Sure. So we understand that Cedar Park as a company is linked to Regiment's capital. And those links have been made by some of our sources saying that the same person who signed the agreement for Cedar Park to buy the property back in 2013 is the same chairperson of Regiment's Capital. And we know Regiment's Capital has been in the public domain for not so bright or clean reasons. I mean, it's come up in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry talking about how they allegedly facilitate kickbacks to the Gupta family from the different tenders that they get from from SOEs. And it seems like the regiment's involvement in the city of Johannesburg dates back beyond or further than 2013. It seems they had already also gotten a tender to facilitate the I believe it's a certain fund within the city of Johannesburg, the Sync Fund. That's the fund that the city puts together in order to fashion debts. So it seems before the actual buying of the property, there were already tenders and deals that had been made that are being questioned right now, especially by the current mayor. It is also important to add, though, that according to the City of Johannesburg, although Cedar Park and Regiment's Capital, by extension, got that property in 2013, it seems there are questions also around how they got it, because the city says that the city then, or the administration then, took out a bond on behalf of Cedar Park and Regiment's Capital. And essentially, it's a seller taking out a bond for a buyer. And there are questions as to why and how you'd, justify that.
Yeah. A lot of details that we're still yet to get. That's our reporter Hitekani Mgwedze just giving us an update on that court case between Cedar Park and the City of Johannesburg. He'll be keeping an eye on that story for us.